iPad training activity. Teacher-centered versus student-centered. How a teacher-centered classroom would look while teaching this activity. The focus is mainly on the teacher. Teacher talks while students exclusively listens. During the activities, the students will work alone and collaboration is discouraged. Also, while students work alone, they don't learn to collaborate with other students and the communication suffers from that. Direct teaching is one traditional centered teaching method. Within this method, the teacher tells the students the concept or skill to be learned and then lead them through the instructional activities designed to result a student learning. Also, the higher use of academic learning time. Teacher monitors students' understanding and provides feedback. An example would be, how do I conserve the battery? If the teacher is teaching this for the iPad, she would just strictly talk about turning off the Wi-Fi, turning off the 3G, turning off the Bluetooth, etc. Explaining it to the students and not really letting the students become involved. In the teacher control method of traditional standard learning, the teacher takes responsibility for all teaching and organization. The consequences are mixed and falls all on the students. Students are allowed limited responsibilities. For this, if the teacher is teaching the settings part of the iPad, she would strictly talk about you may need to modify some apps through the settings, all while showing this to the students and not really getting them involved. In the knowledge dispenser category of traditional centered learning, the teacher only teaches and doesn't ask questions. For instance, if the activity is why the iPad, the teacher would only talk about accessibility, low cost, affordability, responsiveness, and teach strictly to the students. Now, when you switch over to student-centered classroom, things you would look for in a student-centered classroom would be the classroom operates with students-centered instruction, students and instructors share the focus, group work is encouraged, students learn to collaborate and communicate with one another. And for this example, we're going to talk about bring your own device. With this method, the student brings their own digital device and shares with classmates. So if you use that same example, the students will bring their own iPad and show others how to turn off or maybe turn off location services, and they'll talk amongst each other and show each other how to do different things within the iPad. Problem-based learning. With this method, this is when the students learn about a specific activity through the experience of solving an open-ended problem. And if we talk about settings, for that one, the students will all come and create a solution for an open-ended problem. For instance, wallpaper or a lock screen, how to put it on their iPad and how to figure out how to unlock that screen. They'll come up with that open-end question and come up with a solution. Small group within student-centered learning is an approach when the learners get into small groups and come up with different ideas. And if you take this example of why the iPad, they could get into groups and figure out the low cost, the affordability, and they could test out the iPad all together in a small group about the responsiveness, the customizability of it, and have fun within the whole group. A short summary about this little activity would be both approaches are really used and great to use together. Students can enjoy the positive of both types of education. Instead of getting bored with teacher-centered education or losing sight of their goals in a complementary, student-centered classroom, many pupils can benefit from a well-balanced educational atmosphere. Question: what more do you think your organization could do to promote student-centered learning? Thank you for listening.